how on earth do we justify these levels of salaries in a country that we're certainly doing far worse than Bahamas? And when you look at what is happening elsewhere in the region, there's absolutely no justification for this.
Yes, JPU family, welcome to another episode of Jamaica Politics Uncovered. Miss Dionne Jackson Miller, you may combo to them, I love you. I have said on this channel on multiple occasions that Dionne Jackson Miller is no journalist. Dionne Jackson Miller does not fit the bill of a credible journalist in Jamaica. I never really came out and publicly say anything about this woman until she took up a court case where she did not read. Because them not read, She did not read properly. But she came out here to talk about courtside and a chat bare foolishness and accuse people of things that she has no evidence of. That is Dionne Jackson Miller for you. Now, on this topic here about Jamaica being far worse than Bahamas, you were listening to her there in an interview with Dr. Nigel Clark, former finance minister of Jamaica, after the politicians, member of parliament, state ministers received their new salaries, their raise. And you hear this woman is going to sit in front of the finance minister and say, how in God's name can we justify the salary increase, putting up Jamaica against Trinidad and Tobago and Bahamas, and looking at their salaries comparing to our new raises and talking about, say, Jamaica is far worse than Bahamas. Miss sorry, say Nigel Clark did not stop her and ask her, in what terms are you talking about? Because Jamaica is superior to a lot of countries in the Caribbean region. People from all over the world want to come to Jamaica, want a piece of Jamaica, want to experience Jamaica in ways that we don't see and on levels that we don't see with other countries in the region. Jamaica is the number one tourist destination, superior against all other Caribbean islands. We're talking about brand Jamaica. When Dionne Jackson Miller talk about, say, Jamaica is far worse than Bahamas. Bahamas have, must say, 400,000 people or 500,000 people. Them not pass 500,000 in them population. She said this May of 2023 that Jamaica was way worse off than Bahamas. Now tell me how Jamaica can be worse than Bahamas when Bahamas come to Jamaica to come look at our social housing program, our housing development, to come meet with Mark Golden and Peter Bunting and borrow money from them, a field investment bank, borrow money from them to go build up housing development in Bahamas. How is it that Bahamas got inspired by what we are doing in Jamaica policy-wise? Yes, we are worse than Bahamas, we are. If Dionne Jackson Miller was a good journalist, she would have known from 2022 when Bahamas borrowed the money from Bunting and Golden them at Proven Wealth. Because they say she didn't know that, she would have come out and let go her mouth and say that. Jamaica is doing all its social housing programs and even doing great infrastructure work, and they are not borrowing no money from no field bankers or no other country. They not borrow no money and they not tax the people them. So Dionne Jackson Miller, you need to come tell the people them what you mean by Jamaica is way worse off than Bahamas. You're bright and out of order. Jamaica's tourism sector is the first to recover in the region after COVID-19. I wonder if Dionne Jackson Miller know them something there. I wonder if Dionne Jackson Miller knows say if Jamaica was way worse than Bahamas, the people them couldn't still get them salary and we still pay with bills and we still do infrastructure road work and we still do housing development and we still not tax the people. What is wrong with this woman? Jamaica worse off than Bahamas in what terms? She really and truly, look here, TVJ News, you no need to make that woman come tell the nation what she talking about when she say Bahamas better off and Jamaica way worse than Bahamas. You see, these are the things where people like Nigel Clark have to leave him work and go overseas, because to be forced to sit down in front of these low-grade journalists and answer the most ridiculous questions or have the most ridiculous question asked of you, and because Nigel is not a man who grew up bad, then grew him good, him could have really insult her, because if she did say something like that to me now, me da ask her, say, kindly, tell us, what do you mean by Jamaica is way worse? She'd have to explain that part there before we go further, And she couldn't tell me. Then I would have intelligently and politely put her in her place. Sitting down as a journalist trying to undermine the country. You crazy? Guys, I want you to hear Nigel's response to her. So ridiculous. Have a listen.
Quickly, Prime Minister for Jamaica is going to be over 25 million. Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister is 13 million. Bahamas 13. Minister of Finance for Jamaica 21.7 million. Trinidad and Tobago 9 million. I'm quoting everything in Jamaican dollars. Bahamas 10.2 million. In Jamaica, Cabinet Minister will be at 20.2 million. Trinidad and Tobago 9 million. Bahamas 10.2. And an MP in Jamaica will be at 12.5, Trinidad and Tobago 3.8, Bahamas 4.3. How on earth do we justify these levels of salaries in a country that we're certainly doing far worse than Bahamas? And when you look at what is happening elsewhere in the region, there's absolutely no justification for this, surely.
Okay. So, again, first of all, Barbados, Trinidad, and Bahamas have not entered into a public sector restructuring. The way in which they have recovered from COVID has not put them in a position that they can add this amount to their wage bill to pay their public sectors. Jamaica is the only country in the region coming out of a pandemic that's been able to offer these levels of adjustments to its public service.
And why parliamentarians, given what we're seeing in terms of our level of development and our per capita income compared to those other countries?
Because of what we are going through, the experience that we have, Dionne, we are unable to attract and retain the talent that we need to run the public bureaucracy. That is going to change in salaries alone will not fix it, but it will go a long way towards addressing that problem.
So she's talking about development. We're not even going to get into the difference in population size and the size of our different countries. But look what this subscriber said last night on this program. I am Jamaican but grew up in the Bahamas with my youngest sister who was born there. On one of our return visits, we were shocked at the sight of places that we thought would have been upgraded. Our slogan was, it is better in the Bahamas, but objectively speaking, it is worse than it was decades ago. It would have been understood if things were the same, but it is worse. Looking at the progress in Jamaica over the last 10 years versus decades, there is no comparison. Bahamas is driven by tourism, financial services, and they rely heavily on trade with the United States. There is a huge income inequality in the Bahamas. So I am wondering on what basis this woman is going to talk about Bahamas and Jamaica and call Jamaica way worse than Bahamas. Jamaica is about 14 billion in debt. Bahamas is about 12 billion in debt. Jamaica's debt to GDP is about 72%, and Bahamas' debt to GDP is about 82%. Jamaica is 6 times bigger than the Bahamas. So I don't know what this woman mean when she come talk about say Jamaica is way worse. This needs an explanation, people. These people are calling themselves journalists, sit down on our airwaves and our TV, talking to the nation. They are the most unfair critics. They are on a disinformation campaign. Before Jamaica took care of its debt problem, before Jamaica started seeing all these different infrastructure development, housing development, the raises in salaries for everybody and stuff like that, me never hear them come out and talk about, say, Jamaica way worse than Bahamas. So what is the problem now? Now that Jamaica is doing so much better, why are we worse than Bahamas? I am all for freedom of speech and freedom of press. But in some countries, when you see them oppress the press and speech, Sometimes you can't blame them, you know. Me always say too much freedom can cause some serious problem in any country. Because when people like these are able to sit on your TV and utter these things to your children and to your population, I don't think this is right, you know. Bahamas, we just built one 200 unit housing development. And at Jamaica, them a come to come borrow money from some unscrupulous people where even Jamaica now borrow no money from. Bahamas, we couldn't find the vision like where our country Jamaica has to deal with the social housing program and to make sure that affordable housing is available for the people them who want to live in our warm to that woman people. Anyway, when you're listening to Jamaica Politics Uncovered, keep it locked here, guys. Make sure you're subscribed. Call everybody over here so to come subscribe. Your family, your friend, them, and everybody. Come here, tell you, say, the media and the journalism in Jamaica, me say them is a big disappointment, me I tell you no. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.
So nobody can blame struggle and poverty. Your mind is the dome. Hide control. So hold it. No boy and no girl. We are trying to bring down Jamaica culture and Jamaica image. Nothing in our country.